Your Majesty, she stole the jewelry. I saw her beside the treasure room.
Seize and throw her inside the dungeon.
No, I am innocent.
In a faraway land beyond the rivers of Umbali and the hills of fireflies, there was a kingdom known as Oju. It was a land of wealth and wonder, ruled by powerful chiefs and guarded by ancient traditions. Among the many who served in the chief's grand palace was a young woman named Nyah. Nyah was no ordinary servant. Though her hands scrubbed floors and fetched water, her eyes held the spark of a dreamer. She had been brought to the palace as a child after her parents died in a village raid. The old chief had taken her in, not out of kindness, but to gain another obedient hand in his court. She was quiet, wise beyond her years, and always watching. The other servants often whispered that Nyah was born under a wandering star, that her spirit wasn't meant for servitude. One moonless night, while the palace prepared for a great feast, disaster struck. A sacred jewel, the heart of Oju, kept in a golden box near the throne, went missing. Panic spread like wildfire. The chief roared in anger, demanding justice. Nyah had nothing to do with it, but the jealous head maid pointed to her. "She was near the throne room," the woman cried. "She must have taken it." Without question, the guards seized Nyah. The chief did not ask for truth. His pride demanded a sacrifice. That night, she was thrown into the palace dungeon, far beneath the earth, where the air was damp and hope was scarce. It was in that dark, forgotten place that Nyah met Zuberi, an old man with bones like dried wood and eyes that burned like coals. Zuberi had once been the chief's most trusted treasure hunter. He had explored ancient lands, mapped out secret trails, and even discovered the heart of Oju itself. But one day, he too was accused of betrayal and locked away, never to be heard from again. At first, Nyah sat in silence, but over time, Zuberi began to speak. "You are not like the others," he said one day, his voice a rough whisper. "I see something in you, a map of destiny." Nyah thought he was mad, until one night, during the rare moment when a shaft of moonlight crept through a crack in the dungeon wall. Zuberi took out a bundle of dried leaves, crushed them, and mixed them with ash and oils from their prison food. Then, slowly, gently, he began to draw on her back. "What are you doing?" she asked. "My memory fades," he said, "and the map, the last one I had, is torn beyond saving. The treasure must not be forgotten. But more than that, you are the key, the compass. You feel the pull in your soul. The treasure will answer to you. For your protection, this markings will be very light and blend with your skin tone. But as days goes by, it will likely start to pronounce. But hopefully, luck may come our ways before then." He waited each night for that silver of moonlight. Little by little, over weeks, he marked her body with symbols, trails, and sacred signs, inked into her skin with purpose. Then, as fate turned its wheel, the old chief fell ill and died. His son, Omari, a young man known for fairness and wisdom, took the throne. Omari heard whispers about the girl in the dungeon. Unlike his father, he chose to listen. He went down into the dark himself, and when he saw Nyah and heard her story, he ordered her release. And not just hers, Zuberi's too. "I believe there is truth hidden beneath lies," Omari said. "Go, both of you, find what was lost. But freedom came at a cost. Their bodies were weak, frail from years in the cold dungeon. Their skin clung to bone, and their breath came slow. They could not travel far. Omari gave them a house at the edge of the village and instructed his healers to tend to them. For several weeks, they rested. Nyah bathed in sunlight again. Zuberi ate real food. Strength returned slowly, but so did fire in their hearts. At last, when their limbs no longer trembled and the stars above Oju shone brighter, they set out. Guided by the living map on her skin, they crossed forests where the trees whispered names, rivers that spoke in riddles, and caves older than any tribe. At last, deep beneath the mountain called Olumo's spine, they found it, not just treasure, but scrolls of ancient knowledge, tools carved by forgotten hands. As they went deeper, her tattoos mysteriously faded, barely seen, only for golden symbols that glowed in Nyah's presence to appear on the walls, which was a sign that she is the key. Suddenly, the mountain shook and a mysterious door opened. And therein is the greatest treasure ever. The treasure was beyond their wildest dreams. Gold coins, ancient artifacts, jeweled crowns, scrolls written in forgotten tongues, and statues taller than 2 men. But there was one problem. The treasure was far too vast for the 2 of them to carry. Even if they filled their arms with gold, it would barely make a dent. Zuberi, leaning heavily on his walking stick, said, "This was never meant for one person alone." They sat for a long time, thinking. Nyah wanted to be free, to start a new life far away from the palace that had wronged her. But deep inside, she knew that running away with a handful of gold would betray the true purpose of the journey. She had become more than a servant or even a seeker. She was now a guardian of Oju's forgotten legacy. "We must return," Nyah said firmly. "We must tell Chief Omari." Zuberi smiled, the first true smile in years. "You have the heart of a queen." So they quickly picked some few treasures as evidence and left. Since the map tattooed on Nyah's body has faded, Zuberi carefully marked the paths they had taken, creating secret signs among the rocks and trees to guide them back if they ever needed to return. The journey back was not easy. Their supplies were low. Wild beasts stalked the forests. Some nights they slept in trees, other nights in caves. At one point, near the Whispering River, a group of thieves attacked them, sensing they carried something valuable. Nyah and Zuberi had to fight with wit, not weapons, using the river's fog to slip away unseen. Finally, after many days, they saw the walls of Oju rising in the distance. Nyah's feet were blistered. Zuberi's hands trembled from the journey. But when they stepped into Chief Omari's court, the hall fell silent. Kneeling before the chief, Nyah spoke not of revenge, not of her suffering, but only of the treasure, of what belonged to the kingdom. Chief Omari listened with wide eyes. Then, rising from his throne, he did something that would be remembered for generations. He knelt before Nyah and said, "Today, you have restored more than gold. You have restored honor." Nyah was no longer a servant girl. She was the marked one, a symbol of truth, resilience, and destiny. And so, the treasures were brought home, but Nyah chose not to stay in the palace. Wealth was never her dream, but the chief was adamant to make them live well and never lack, at least a show of his gratitude. They have no choice but to accept his offer, but on the condition that they won't stay in the palace anymore. Nyah and Zuberi moved to a small village at the edge of the kingdom, near the River of Stars, where they taught children the old ways, the stories, the maps, the songs of destiny. And whenever the night grew quiet and the stars filled the sky, the children would whisper, "There lives the girl who carries the map of dreams." Her name was sung in songs, her story told around fires, so that no child would forget that even in chains, the stars still remember your name.